let you know we're happy here at Unity of Boerne to get started this morning for our live stream services. We like to call it our Sunday experience. Today we're going to be provided with a message from a longtime friend, Mr. Rick Busby, who's a licensed Unity teacher, and so we'll be feeling a little bit more full of understanding by the end of today's service. It's here every Sunday at 11 a.m. and we call it the Sunday Experience. We find that we have a bit of an experience. We just don't know what else to call it. Every Sunday morning. We're here at Unity of Boerne on 121 Scenic Loop Road, and that's in Boerne, Texas. And glad to have you. We have a saying here, it's always more with you. I want to thank the Pathlighters, who are our online outreach group, and you are always appreciated. I'd like to also let you know that if you make a donation, we are supported by our donations like every church. And you can just look through the bottom of the page here on Facebook, and you'll find the PayPal button or donation button. And that's where you go. Otherwise, you can mail your check to 121 Scenic Loop Road in Boerne, Texas, 78006. Today, we'll also be led in worship by our board president, Mr. Brent Ackles. Thanks again for joining us. As we said, it's always more with you.
Hi there.
Yes.
Hello, little one. Good to see you again.
Oh, Saving that seat. No, that's all right. Look, I just got to give you a hard time.
Yeah, it is.
They're so sweet.
Part-time week.
We don't make a big deal. We are always
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity of Boerne. We're going to start our service this morning. We're going to stand, David, we're going to sing something.
Yes, we're going to sing good morning, by the way. It's good to be back with you again.
We're singing good
We're
morning.
doing open my eyes, open my ears, and open my heart, that I may see. You can also open your mouth. That's what we need, actually. Open my eyes that I may see riches of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands a wonderful key. Thou shalt unclasp and set me free. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me. Spirit divine. Open my ears that I may hear voices of truth thou sendest clear. And while the weight of fall on my ear, everything falls will disappear. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me. Spirit divine. Open my mouth and let me bear gladly the warm truth everywhere. Open my heart and let me prepare love with my children must to share. Silently now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my heart, illumine me. Spirit divine.
Well done, well done. While you're sitting down, find somebody and say, you look marvelous.
I'm not going to sit down.
You look marvelous. Oh, I'm glad they were thinking about
All right, I do have some announcements for you this morning. A few things I want to tell you. First of all, Rick Busby is with us again. He comes every once in a while. It's a blast to have him here. Marty's telling me nobody can hear me.
Right.
Welcome. Glad to have you back. Always good to be here. Sometimes Rick gets called like 4 hours before, and it's kind of like, hey, can you come over? And so that's happened to him before too. So welcome, welcome. I want you to turn your attention to your order of service for all of our classes and discussions that are going on. Most of those are, well, some of them are in person, some of them are virtual. You can see the list there. It's also on our Facebook page and our website. All the login information is there as well. We welcome Pathlighters who are joining the fun online here this morning. We have gotten some silverware that was donated, and so we're trying to kind of like decrease the amount of stuff we're putting in the landfill. So we're going to try this, and we're going to see how it goes. So we have real silverware now for the next potluck. And so the only problem is we need a couple of people to stick around a little bit longer, maybe help us wash some stuff up. So let's see how it goes. How we doing? Man, look at all the name tags. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. I see, I see. If you want people to know who you are, there's a sign-up sheet in the back. You can put your name on there. Next week you'll have a name tag. Very well. Gene, very good job. All right, all right. If you want to stay anonymous, I guess you can write anonymous on there. Be anonymous. I don't know. Either way. I don't know that I have much else in the way of announcements. Does anybody know anything that I don't? I would tell you that we're kind of looking for somebody to help us mow the lawn every once in a while. Jim Luke, many of you may know. Oh, there's one.
I'll go back.
Well, not doing it. We'll take every once in a while. We're trying to spread it around. Anyway, Jim bought us a brand new rechargeable mower. And the battery is, I think, in the kitchen. And so there's no gas, there's none of that stuff, so it should be easy to do. And we're getting kind of weedy out there, not a lot of rain. But, all right, Gene, I'll take you up on that and I'll show you some stuff.
Need to water the beans too.
Yeah, our plants are looking a little bit iffy out there, so if anybody happens to come during the week, or if you're doing something, throw some water on them, or if you see they're pretty wilty before you leave, the hose is in the corner.
I'll help you.
Anything else?
Who's new?
Who's new? That's a good question. Anybody here for the first time?
Who's new?
We don't want to embarrass you, but could we embarrass you a little bit? Can we have you stand and just tell us who you are and where you're from?
I'm Gaylyn. This is my husband, Lynn. We're from San Antonio. We used to belong to the Unity Church in Kerrville. And my father has been in Boerne. Well, he died a couple of years ago, but he was in Boerne all of his life. And this church is close to our home, so we wanted to come see, see how you're
Were you in Kerrville when Patty was there? Were you there? Were you there when Patty was there?
Not Patty, it was Joan.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
I think we're going to move on. It's time for the daily word. Miss Linda. I was instructed to get all my stuff on
Good morning, everyone.
the way.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, we remember that we are in spirit with millions of daily word readers in churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. Today's word is kindness. And the affirmation, kindness is the language of my heart. I set the intention today to give from my heart, to show compassion and kindness to everyone I meet. I begin by being kind to myself. I take time for spiritual self-care and prioritize good nutrition, relaxation, and exercise. I am gentle with myself when I come up short, filling my self-talk with words of affirmation and compassion. Being kind to myself makes being kind to others easy and natural. I am patient and understanding, and I seek harmony and accord in my relationships. I let the small irritations go, remaining calm and pleasant. I look for ways to lighten the load of others and don't hesitate to offer a helping hand. My kindness helps create the kingdom of heaven on earth. The scripture comes from Matthew 25:35. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Again, the affirmation, kindness is the language of my heart. My name is Linda, and I thank you all for joining us in worship today.
All right, we're going to stand here with our miracle moment. I can't read that. Can anybody else?
Yes.
Can? Okay. We're going to do that together.
This very moment, I stand ready with open arms to receive my good. I know it is done to me as I believe and I release any and all blocks in the awareness of who I truly am and welcome new life. And so it is.
We'll stay standing here for a minute when we do our celebration song.
Wonderful words of life. Live over again to me, wonderful words of life. Let me more of their beauty see, wonderful words of life. Words of life and beauty, teach me faith and beauty. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life. Words of promise for all mankind, wonderful words of life. Bringing comfort and peace of mind, wonderful words of life. Promises to cheer me, words I treasure dearly. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life. Words of wisdom enrich my soul, wonderful words of life. Ever strengthen and make me whole, wonderful words of life. Gems of wisdom thrilling, thirst for fruit fulfilling. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life.
All right.
Thank you all.
Let's stay standing just for a second. We're going to do our opening prayer together.
Unity of Boerne is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people.
Please be seated. So everybody should have our service a prayer card there. We take those at any time, but we're going to bring the prayer box up for Rick to bless her for a minute. So you can put them, we'll wait for you for a minute. You can put it in the box now or anytime during the service. We'll pray for it here for a week. There's been out the Unity worldwide where we prayed for a month. And here comes your card with the prayer box. All right, Rick, you're on.
All right.
Anybody else?
So let's just take a moment and center ourselves in the awareness of the power and the presence that activates and animates all life, answers all needs, the source of all love, truth, wisdom, beauty, the source at the foundation of all divine order. And as we hold these prayer requests in this prayerful consciousness, we know that each and every request is even now being fulfilled. Even now solutions are being provided. Even now healing is on its way. Whatever the need, it is answered. And we affirm that this is so. We pray all of this and more in the name and the nature of Jesus, the indwelling Christ. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen.
Amen.
I'm up, right? I talked to Rick earlier in the week. I said, I don't have any songs about the power of power, which is what he's talking about. But I do have one about the power and gift of forgiveness. The song I wrote around Easter time. I give to myself. I embrace it to release resentment. Forgiveness is a gift. It can open your heart, cleanse the past, and bring contentment. Wherever you are, and whatever someone did, no matter. Open yourself to the power to realize the gift of forgiveness. Forgiveness, if it's mine to have forgiveness, it must be mine to give forgiveness. You gotta have it to heal, to make it all real. Forgive those who don't practice what they preach. Forgive those through your actions you can teach forgiveness. Make it a daily dose to remove the cobwebs of indifference if it cleaves you through the power and gift of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a gift I give to myself. It helps me to foster understanding. Forgiveness is a gift we can give to each other to see the reasons behind a misunderstanding. Wherever you are and whatever they did, no matter. Open yourself to the power to realize the gift of forgiveness. If it's mine to have forgiveness, it must be mine to give forgiveness. You gotta have it to heal and make it all real. Forgive those who don't practice what they preach. Forgive those through your actions you can teach forgiveness. Make it a daily dose to remove the cobwebs of indifference through the power and grace of forgiveness. Don't forget to forgive yourself.
Beautiful.
So today happens to be Celebration Sunday. So birthdays, anniversaries, a healing of some kind. Oh boy, nobody's getting up. I got one. I got two.
Nobody wants to be first.
Maria. Oh my gosh. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, I don't know if I have enough fun.
Now we got it. Now we got
A
it.
lot of October birthdays.
Alright, I'm gonna come down this way. Your name, young lady? Ella, what are you celebrating?
I have made a lot of recovery for myself, so I would like to celebrate that.
Take all that. Alright, is this a duel or is this separate?
No, we're
You're separate. You have your own ideas? Alright, your name?
My name is Esther,
What are you celebrating?
and actually I'm going to celebrate, it sounds very odd, but I'm going to celebrate the passing into the spirit world of my mother. And I was fortunate to be with her for the last 2 weeks of her life and witness her gently passing into the spirit world, and without pain, without anything. And it was such a beautiful, peaceful way of exiting this life. And I celebrate my mother wholeheartedly. And her message was living through love. And I'd like to take that with me and live from a loving heart as she did.
Everybody, her name.
Her name was Isolde.
Don't let you come years and years ago.
And she loved it here.
She
She
did.
loved the community here, the community church, and I know she'll be here with us in spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. You're all stuck together.
Yeah, do your best.
Very good.
What's your name?
According to you, I don't have a name. I'm
You're
anonymous.
anonymous.
But they do happen to call me Rick. Yeah. I'm very thankful that my darling wife is back from Deutschland, but I'm so happy she was able to go there with her mother. I'm very grateful for the whole thing. Thank you.
Your name?
It's Andrew.
Andrew? What's celebrating?
I'm celebrating the friends and family who got my birth recovery. And I've been coming here to me for about a month. I love it.
Awesome. Your name?
I'm Maria.
What's celebrating?
I'm celebrating, I do have a birthday this month, but I'm also celebrating all the members from our little Unity church here, members that were in the past from the very beginning, the ones that have returned. And I'm celebrating the expansion of our little church with all these new people coming in as well.
All right, young lady. Oh, your name?
Thanks for saying young.
You are.
I'm celebrating being back.
Yay.
And my 90th birthday coming up.
Oh. Your name?
My name is Linda,
All right, what are you celebrating?
and we are celebrating our birthdays this month. Brent's is tomorrow, and mine is the next day.
All right.
Okay.
Your name?
I have several things to be celebrating. First of all, my health. And for Jennifer recommending someone special, I'm also celebrating Robert Watson's transition to the spirit world. And I'm also celebrating today's my sister's 16th anniversary of transitioning. And I am so thankful for an organization called Domestic Violence. If you ever need anyone, call the Domestic Violence Agency closest to you.
Somebody asked me what I'm celebrating. What are you
celebrating?
All right, I got two things. So the first one is that most of you know I have a thing for Labradors, right? And I lost a Labrador 15 years in the spring. And I can't do her justice other than I have more than 11,000 miles walking with that dog. So that's like from here to New York 3 times. And so to spend that amount of time with a person, or even when they say you can finish your sentences or whatever, I could talk to that dog all day long. That's one. The second one is talk amongst yourselves.
Uh-oh. Something we didn't expect.
Any more celebrators? Come on up.
Looks like a good time to get in on
Well, I'll tell you guys, next Saturday is a race called the Boerne Point 5K. Race from, it starts at Boerne.
Everyone say hello to Emma.
Hi, Emma.
She's been in the car drinking coffee.
I highly recommend it, Brent. I highly recommend it to say, my husband founded this race before he passed last December. It will be the 5th year. And we have raised $150,000 for Blessings and Backpack, which feeds children in Boerne who are hungry on the weekend. So I'm proud to carry that tradition next week. Saturday.
Move your fingers. Say we honor your celebrations.
We honor your celebrations.
We're sure the best is yet to come.
Sure, the best is yet to come.
You can put them back, but you got to take them with you. Or you can just take them now.
Emma.
Emma. All right. I love it. I'm going to take it with
Me now, right?
Very soft.
So wow, I think after the introduction of Emma, we're done. I don't know how to follow that. 11,000 miles. That's quite a walking journey. Well, thank you all for having me here. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, those of you who are streaming with us online here. My name is Rick Busby. I'm a licensed Unity teacher. My home church is Unity Church of the Hills in Northwest Austin. But I'm hardly ever there. I speak in Unity churches throughout Texas almost every Sunday. I'm already being booked into January right now. I'm booked for the rest of the year. The only time I'm at my own home church is whenever I'm speaking at one of the services now. But I feel blessed to be able to move around to all the churches, see all the communities. For those of you I haven't met, basically I focus on several areas. I do focus on the 5 powers quite often, Charles's fundamentals. I do focus on the 12 powers. We're already talking about some of the 12 powers today. I'm a Course in Miracles student. I'm a 4 agreements, actually 5 agreements advocate. I'm an Artist Way practitioner as well. I love the work of Eric Butterworth and Dr. David Hawkins, and especially his book Power versus Force. And all of those things kind of get woven into whatever topic I'm talking about. So you'll probably hear me referencing the 4 agreements or Course in Miracles or other things tangentially to what we're talking about here today. What we are talking about is the power of power, and how I decided that this was going to be the topic and the subject about a week and a half or so ago when I was contacted for the talk title and the summary. That morning I had gotten an email from a licensed Unity teacher student in California, Dr. Rajiv, and he had read an article that I had written on the power of power about 4 or 5 years ago. He found it, he was Googling. He's doing his one of his papers on the power of power, and he was Googling around. He wound up on this blog article that I had written about the power of power. And so before I called him back and touched base with him, I went and reread the article myself, and I was like, wow, you must have had a lot of coffee that day. It was a really, really good day. I was like, that was a pretty good article, and I hadn't read it in like 5 years, and I was like, wow, that's really relevant, because the power of power is most practically speaking associated with the power of our word. It's Charles calls it the expressing power. It's right here in our throat region, and so you can well imagine. Y'all probably heard before with respect to the 12 powers and everything, that the powers are not intended to work independently of the other powers. That actually we're supposed to sort of fuse them all together, and then we get a synergistic power where we're in alignment and have all of our powers and all of our faculties at play. But you can probably well imagine that with the power of our spoken word, that if the power of my spoken word was divorced from my power of love or my power of reason and discernment and everything, that I could probably go off the rails pretty quickly with my, with my word. For Course in Miracles students, one of the ways that I calibrate things and kind of keep things simple and easy to determine what is mine to do in a given moment is I remain cognizant that I'm basically making the choice all day long, thousands of times a day, between love and fear, love and fear, love and fear, over and over and over, form after form, circumstance after circumstance. And how I know if I've chosen other than love is my peace is the first thing that's mortgaged. It's out the door. So if you're in a condition, a state of consciousness where you're not feeling peace, it's a pretty good bet that you're choosing from fear. So if you're not at peace, it's probably a good time for us to be real guarded with what our word is spoken, because we'll be speaking from a place of fear. And when we're speaking from a place of fear, our ego is involved, number one. We're usually defensive. Course in Miracles students will recall the lesson, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And that seems really counterintuitive in a world that seems to be so aggressive, and we need to be marshaled up and be defending things. But when we're defending things from the place of our ego, right, and not from our spirit. So the other choice is the choice of love. And how do I know I'm choosing love? Is, well, first of all, my peace is intact. If I'm choosing from love, I'm choosing from a place of non-opposition. I'm choosing from a place of love and security and peace. I'm able to access the experience of joy, compassion, empathy. All of those are consequences and effects of choosing love. You don't get the peace without choosing love. It's not a separate a la carte item. You can't say, I'll have a little bit of peace, but I'm going to ignore love today. Like, no, you can't do that. And you can try. You can try, and I have tried. But it's not successful, because love is the choice that we make, and then all of the elevated, ascended energies that we can embody: joy, compassion, empathy, a sense of prosperity, a sense of health and wholeness, and ultimately even peace, and beyond that, just pure enlightenment. They are all the results, the effects and consequences of choosing love. And so the more and more we embody love as our default position, then we're able to access those higher energies. In Dr. David Hawkins' work, Power versus Force, he points out that we're on a scale. He's got a scale, what he calls his map of consciousness, and it's a vertical scale from like 0 to 1,000, right, on this scale of calibration. And 200 on this scale is where we begin to access courage. And at that level of courage is when we begin to access power, true power. Below 200, he calls force. Now, force can look like power, right? And in fact, a lot of times that word is used interchangeably with power. But Dr. Hawkins makes a distinction between power and force. And that power, if you'll recall, anybody who's an etymologist in here or may recall that the word courage, the root word of the word courage, derives from a word that meant heart. Right? So at that level of courage where we're demonstrating and expressing courage, we're beginning to access the heart. Right? Below 200, we're involved in pride, fear, shame, guilt, anger, all of those kinds of what we would describe as lower energies. Right? But as we ascend up that scale, love is only 500 on a scale of 1,000. Think about that for just a moment. Love is only 500 on a scale of 1,000. But everything above love, everything above 500 is the result of expressing love. And so with the power of our power, which is associated with our spoken word, then we should, as Course in Miracles teaches us, teach only love, for that is what you are. Say that again. Say that with me. Teach only love, for that is what you are. And if we embody that, if we take that principle into the activity of our thinking and feeling nature and our consciousness, and we practice that day in and day out, and it seems exhausting, but do you realize that we actually think somewhere in the vicinity of 60,000 thoughts a day? 60,000 thoughts a day running through the activity of your thinking. They point out in those studies that analyze that 80% of those 60,000 thoughts are redundant, meaning they're repetitive. We're thinking the same things over and over and over and over. 80% of those thoughts that are repetitive and redundant are fear-based. Think about that, right? So if we don't produce anything else in this world, if you think you're not a creative being, you are a thought-creating machine. And it goes on 24/7, 365. The variable is, am I aware? Am I consciously aware of what is going on in the activity of my thinking and feeling nature? Unity's third principle says what? We're creating this reality. We're co-creating this reality. We're creating our own experience by the thoughts and the feelings that we allow to dominate in the activity of our thinking consciousness. That's the place where we exert our power, is by being attendant to what's going on. What am I thinking? How am I feeling about what I'm thinking? And before I say a word, before I speak, there is a thought behind that. Every word that I speak, every word that you speak, there is a thought that precedes that word. Is that thought or that feeling, is it grounded in love? Or is it grounded in fear? And that's a basic calibration. That's an easy, practical way for us to move through our experience to be able to evaluate what is going on. Not only what is going on in the world, but what is going on within me in response or reaction to what is going on in the world. That's where my power is. I'm not in charge of what's happening out here in the world, but I am in charge of how I'm experiencing. Yeah, I hear you. I am in charge of how I'm experiencing what's going on in the world. No one can really take away my power in that regard. No one can take away your power in that regard without you first volunteering to give it up. Right? So by assuming the power of our power, Charles calls it the expressing power, and it's really geared towards us being able to demonstrate dominion and mastery over our lives. Dominion and mastery. This is where we practice it, with the power of our word. But as I said a moment ago, none of the powers operates independently of the other 11 powers. And in this talk today, we're kind of focused on the power of love. Obviously, teach only love, for that is what you are. Our words should be love-centered, love-filled in all circumstances. Nobody does it perfectly, but whenever I fall off track, whenever I'm off target, I get to choose again, right? Of course, Miracle students will know that one, right? Choose again. Right? Choose again. How many times do I need to choose again? Every day. Choose again. Choose again, and stay calibrated on love. Stay calibrated on that reality that I am love, you are love, we are born in love, we are born as love, and we are intended and meant to embody that and express that. The power of love is exponentially greater than the energy of force. The power of love is exponentially greater than the energy of fear. But fear seems to be so much in our face all the time, right? It's everywhere. Just turn on the news. If you're not afraid of anything, just turn on the news for a little while. Right? It won't take long before you'll have something to be anxious about. Right? But even in those, Dr. Michael Beckwith has a great thought that I heard him say one time, that every headline in the news is a prayer request. Every headline in the news is a prayer request. So I can either react to what's going on and buy into a negative circumstance, or I can go, what does Course in Miracles say? Acts of love, requests for love. Acts of love, requests for love. Those are the only two kinds of actions there are in the world. Acts of love or requests for love. So every newspaper headline, every headline in the media is a prayer request. So that's what we can do, because as we embody that, as we use the power of our own power to respond instead of react, and we respond in love to all of these circumstances that are going on, that power is exponentially greater. It's estimated, Dr. Hawkins estimates, that one person choosing love at the level of unconditional love, one person choosing love at the level of unconditional love can neutralize and cancel out 10 million people choosing fear. It's staggering to think about that. But just resonating at that energy of unconditional love and calibrating my own spiritual direction in that direction, even if I'm falling short of that unconditional love, plateau right there to achieve that. Even if I'm falling short, but I'm aiming in that direction, my expression of love is neutralizing fear for millions of people potentially. And that potential resides in all of us. In fact, it's our responsibility to embody that. That's the purpose of life, is for us to learn to embody that. Y'all know in Genesis, right, the power of the word, it's at the very beginning, right? The let there be light, right? That kind of kicks the creation story into place. But that's not the Judeo-Christian tradition is not the only one that mentions that spoken word or the power of the word. In the Hindu tradition, Brahma was embodied as inside of a golden embryo. And he stated a vowel, a single sound. Probably sounds a lot like Om, kind of thing. And inside that golden embryo, that sound was reverberating off of the walls of the embryo, echoing back upon itself, and that created the wind and the water. So even that creation story was sound. This is why they call it the power of power. When I first heard that there was a power of power, I was like, wow, there's a power of power. Isn't that interesting? We've got a power of faith, we've got a power of love. We also have a power of power. That's what gives us the capacity to master our experience, to have dominion over our lives. But if we don't use it in concert with, for example, the power of love, then we're kind of just flailing around in the dark, right? But even more so than that, the power of will is our executive power. Whatever comes out of my mouth does not come out of my mouth just because of my power of power. It's my executive faculty, that power of will, that is choosing what is coming out, that is choosing how I express myself, that is choosing whether I'm teaching only love or coming at it from fear and judgment and criticism, all the other kinds of things. My power of will is always involved. And if my power of will is divorced from my power of love, well, you can imagine how quickly you can go off the rails in that regard. If you were just running around choosing anything and everything without a critical understanding or a discernment about what is good and right and proper to move you further along in your journey of transformation, if you're just doing something to satisfy yourself in the moment, that instant gratification, without thinking about the future, then that's not using our power of discernment. So you can begin to quickly see all these powers, they quickly go off the rails if they're not fused together into a synergy with the other powers. And the power of power is no different than that. Any Four Agreements fans? Dominic ever read the Four Agreements? What's the number one? Be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. They talk in the Toltec tradition, they talk about the word as having creative power. And they couch it in terms of white magic and black magic. Well, in the Christian tradition, that magic thing gets everybody a little wiggy sometimes. But it's true. It's true. White magic would be words like love and joy and healing, you're beautiful, words that empower, words that uplift. And black magic words would be words that would tear down people. So being impeccable with your word means to be without sin. The word, the Latin origin of the etymology of that, the word impeccable derives from, without sin. Without sin. Y'all know the sin is an archery term, right? Meaning, missing the mark. Exactly. So instead of it being an action to be judged, it's just an error to be corrected. So you just pull out another arrow, take aim again, and try again. Shoot again. Forgive yourself for what they were saying, the power of forgiveness, and at the very end there was like, right, remember to forgive yourself. I believe that all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. It's not really for the other person. That they get let off the hook whenever I forgive them, but I'm actually forgiving myself and laying down the grievance. I'm the one that's set free by my act of forgiveness. That they also get set free is coincidental. But all forgiveness is ultimately self-forgiveness. So I like that little tag at the very end, that reminder. Remember to forgive yourself. That's a proper exercise of your power of power. Teach only love, for that is what you are. I want to close this before we go into meditation. I want to read a few things. Let me tell you this one thing about the Hindu tradition and the Buddhist tradition. Not the Buddhist tradition, the Hindu tradition with Brahma. They have what they call the Matrika Shakti. Has anybody ever heard that before? The Matrika Shakti. And basically what that word means is they call them the little mothers. And in the Sanskrit alphabet, depends on which source you're looking at, but there's anywhere from 43 to 63 or 64 sounds in the alphabet. So like we have letters, we have 26 letters. Well, expand that to include all the sounds, and all of the sounds have creative energy, have creative power. And so the Mantrika Shakti are like these individualized sounds, and as we fuse those words together, we can pretty easily see right words that are hurtful, right? Anybody in here not ever used a word that's hurtful? Do that, I'm at the right meeting. Like we've used that. That's an error to be corrected. That's an opportunity to choose again. That's an opportunity to recalibrate back to love and choose again. Choose again. That's just that simple. It's not necessarily easy to do because we have to be conscious of that fundamental choice that we're making. If we're not conscious of it, if we're just unaware, we can create all kinds of drama, needless drama, which is what the 4 agreements are about, is helping us to stay away from needless suffering. Right? There is things that happen in the world that create sorrow. There are things that happen in the world that create suffering. But most of what passes for suffering is self-created. It's needless. So something like the 4 agreements is intended to help keep us backside of that. I want to read a couple things. Excuse me, and I got a catch in my throat. I want to read a couple things. This comes from the 12 Powers and Charles's work there. And it's in the chapter on the power of power. Humankind is the power of God in action. Humankind is the power of God in action. To humankind is given the highest power in the universe, the conscious power of thought. That's our 3rd principle, right? That we're co-creating this experience by the thoughts and the feelings. That we're to assume personal responsibility for what's going on in the activity of our thinking. There is a universal creative force that urges humankind forward to a recognition of the creative power of individual thought. There is a universal creative force that urges humankind forward to a recognition of the creative power of individual thought. Excuse me. This power is elemental, and all of its attributes come under the dominion of humankind. Remember, the power of power is about dominion. Us exercising dominion and mastery over our life. When we cooperate with divine principle, we sit on the throne of authority, and the elemental power is subject to it. Our words, let there be light. Right? But then there was a thought of light before the words, let there be light. So every word you speak, it's not just something random that comes out of our mouths. There's a thought connected to it. The last thing I want to read is this piece right here. This is what we're doing. This is why our individual choice is important. This is once again from Charles and Power and the 12 Powers. When enough people have attained this power, the new heaven and new earth described in the 21st chapter of Revelation will appear. When enough people have attained this power of power, when enough people are demonstrating mastery and dominion over their own circumstances, when enough people are choosing love as their primary calibration, the new heaven and new earth appears. They attach it to the mystical so-called 144,000, as sort of a mystical, metaphysical number, to imply that only 140, we got what, closing on 8 billion people on the planet, something like that. And if you think about it, that only 144,000 people calibrating at the level of universal and conditional love would keep everything in the lanes, would keep everything together. That's our responsibility. That's our charge. That's our destiny, is to be able to practice and calibrate using the power of our power to teach only love. That's really that simple. Not necessarily easy to do because we have to assume responsibility for that. And I'm a firm believer that one of our biggest fears, if not our biggest fear, is assuming personal responsibility for the quality of our experience. It's really easy to make others responsible for having a bad day. But when we accept that personal responsibility for our power, all manner of power, creative power, comes through us. We're able to embody love, express love naturally, and we're no longer thinking about it. It's just the default button. So I encourage you this week, and we're going to meditation here for a few minutes, but I encourage you this week to be thinking about that choice, that fundamental choice that we're making between love and fear, and then connect that with your own words and actions, how you're expressing with friends, neighbors, co-workers, people in the community, whether you're talking back to the TV when the TV is telling you bad news and everything, and we're complaining about whatever might be going on out there. Choose your words wisely and teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. So why don't we take a few minutes here, David? You want to do us a little
do a
prayer
song.
here?
Powerful stuff right there. In the midst of his children, the Lord said he would lead. It doesn't take very many, it can be just 2 or 3. And I feel the same sweet spirit I felt sometimes before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and grace. There's a holy hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. There's a holy hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
So let's take that into meditation as we prepare for a time in silence. If you're comfortable, I encourage you to close your eyes for a moment. You have something in your hands, you might want to just lay it down for just a few moments. What I'd like you to do is take your right hand and put it on your throat. Just put it right on your throat area for just a moment. With your eyes closed and your hand on your throat, just say Om. Feel that vibration in your throat. Feel that energy that literally started the universe, with all creative life into motion. The power of our word, which follows our thoughts and our feelings. That's how we create and co-create this experience. You have a power of power, a capacity to exercise, express, and embody dominion and mastery over your own experience. And as you activate this power of power, as you allow it to connect with the power of your love, the power of your will, the power of your critical evaluation, your discernment, power of judgment and reason, as you connect it to that power of understanding, that intuitive power that connects us to all divine ideas. As we use the power of our renunciation, illumination, to say no to anything that's blocking us from perceiving that we are only love. We release those blocks. We allow ourselves to see our own divinity. And by connecting with the greater oneness, the greater whole, we become willing to see the divinity in everyone, with no exceptions. We use the power of our power to create only good. We use the power of our power to express only love. We energize the power of our will to be in cooperation with these goals, with these principles, with these intended outcomes. And we say yes. We say yes to the Christ. We say yes to Spirit. We say yes to love. We say yes to God. Show me. Teach me. Help me to embody and express the authority of my own power of power. To use that power in the direction of love. I know as I prepare myself to go into the silence for a few moments, I know that I have access to all of God's power, healing power, creative power. It's mine. And today, right here, in the silence, I claim that. I take ownership of that. I take responsibility for the power of my power. So as we prepare to go into the silence, we just allow Spirit to infuse us with all the knowledge, intelligence, love, creative power that's necessary for us to embody and master our experience. As we go into the silence, we remind ourselves of our mission to teach only love, for that is who we are. In the silence. Draw our attention back into the sanctuary. We do so in the knowledge, the awareness that wherever we are, God is. Wherever we are, we have access to God's love, God's creative power. There is no circumstance or situation that we can be involved in where we are separated from this power, from this presence. And so moving forward, we continue to strive to move in the direction of only love, to embody that, to pay this forward to all of humankind as our service, as our gift back to humankind. There are those that don't know the power of choosing love, but we know. So because we know it is incumbent upon us to assume that responsibility, to allow love to express through us, so we do so willingly. We say thank you, living, loving Spirit, for the power of love. Thank you for creating me and giving me the opportunity to co-create this experience. For all of the power, the creative gifts, the love, the power of will, the power of power, the power of understanding and discernment, we say thank you. Thank you, living, loving Spirit. We pray all of this and more in the name, the nature of Jesus, the indwelling Christ. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen. Spirit coming up first? You got a song for us today?
Yes. Freely, freely, I have received. Freely, freely, the life of the me blesses all that I am, all that I give and blesses all that I am, all that I give and
Let's take an opportunity here to bless these gifts. Invite everybody to draw their attention to the gifts that have been placed in this tithing bag and all the gifts that are given at different times of the month or in different ways. You see all these gifts as the gift of our own prosperity here in the Unity of Boerne community. We bless each and every giver. And we know that we cannot outgive God. Whatever we give is returned to us 10 times and more, pressed down and overflowing. So we accept and receive our prosperity. We accept and receive these gifts coming back to us. And even as we circulate these gifts out in the world, we see each one of them doing the highest good for everyone who is touched as they move through into the energy of circulation. We are blessed as the givers and we are blessed as the receivers. So we say thank you, thank you, thank you, living Holy Spirit. We pray in the name of the nature of Jesus, the indwelling Christ. And so it is. So we allow it to be. Amen.
We could do our offer tour, but that was way better. So I think we'll skip that part of it. We'll just move right on. So where are we? Help you build a bridge?
between your heart and mine, love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
All right, we're going to stand and make a big circle.
Circle up, everybody. Surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Blessings, everybody. My pleasure.
Good to see you again.
I saw you last week. Yeah, I wasn't here, but I watched that.
I jump in at the end there.
Yeah, I watched that, and that was great. I couldn't be here, so.
I'm looking for that I wanted to take that over because I think it's sort of like different people get up and talk offerings, different readings. Thank you very much. My idea. But I am, yes, I am a volunteer too. Oh, thank you for being here. It makes it better.
I went there on the second Sunday of
You speak well.
Oh, thank you.
Your Winston, Harvard.
Well, what can I say? Another great Sunday experience here at Unity of Boerne. I'm Tom Allen, and I just want to thank you for being with us today. I want to thank all of our Pathlighters and all those others from Texas and other states who drop in on us for Sunday morning service. You are important to us, and it's always more with you. Hope you enjoyed some parts of our experience. We had a great message today with our licensed Unity teacher friend, Rick Busby, who's usually known as a member, used to be here at Unity of Boerne, but now at Unity of the Hills in Austin, Texas. And just want to thank you for being with us. Here we honor and celebrate our active connection with the Christ consciousness, that which we call the Christ within. We're here every Sunday morning for the Sunday experience starting at 11 o'clock. We are live, and once again I want to say, the more that you are with us in spirit, the more we are together, whether that's physical or otherwise. So here's a reminder, in a couple of weeks it'll be time for Potluck Sunday, and you're welcome to come. And we ask first-time visitors to please take their rightful place at the head of the line, where we can show our gratitude for this union, this unity, this peace that we achieve here by being together. And again, we appreciate and welcome you into our family circle. We thank you for all of your support in all the ways that you support us. And until next week, have a blessed, grounded, joyful, peaceful, and most fulfilling week. Thanks. Bye from now from Unity of Boerne.
Good job.
Just wanted to thank you so much for your message. Everything you said has resonated so much. It reminds me every day.